Hello, everyone, and welcome into another edition of To The Point Podcast. Everybody's doing well on this Tuesday. Beautiful day, a lot to get into. At the national championship game last night, Auston Matthews goes off for a hat trick, and I think he's locked up two major awards in one evening. We'll get to that later in the show. Shamus is going to join about 45 minutes for his Tuesday appearance. We'll talk about a lot of things. We're going to do a Masters draft. So we're each going to pick some players. I think that should be a lot of fun. I think we'll do three each. And if whoever picks a winner, I guess we'll decide the stakes later on. So we'll chat about that, make some predictions, talk about some players to look out for. I can't wait. 2 more days until the Masters, 2 more days until Major League Baseball gets going. So a lot happening this week. And let's start at Augusta National. Because this week, it's the Masters. Sure, it's about the eventual winner, and Hideki Matsuyama is the first Japanese player to ever win the Masters. He's going to be having a champions dinner tonight. There's a lot of good things coming from this tournament. But there's no bigger story. There's no better story in the sports world right now than Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods is at the forefront. He is the main man. He's taking all the coverage. Where today he was interviewed and he said he's going to play. He's going to be playing this weekend. He's in a group with Louis Oosthuizen, who's been dominant at the Masters the past number of years. But he will be teeing it around 10:34 a.m. on Thursday, which it's incredible that Tiger, his real name Eldrick, I like to call him Eldrick just because it's fun, but that Tiger is going to be competing. He's going to be at the biggest event of the season after all he's been through. After the accident where he nearly lost his leg. After, he battling back, after learning to walk again. Doctors for a moment thought Tiger may never walk again. And yet here we are. He's going to walk again. He's walking again. He's going to play golf again. He's going to be playing at Augusta National. And this story could get better. But I think people have to realize is that just Tiger, when he's at the first tee and he hits the ball, and whether it's off the green, whether he sculls it, whether it's great, it's a perfect line, it doesn't matter. The fact that he's playing again is a miracle in and of itself. He might go on to win. Who knows? I doubt it, but it's Tiger. If he makes the cut, it's fantastic. But if we get to see him play golf the next 2 days, that is more than any of us deserve. Tiger owes the sport of golf. He owes the fans. He owes nothing to anybody. He could have easily said, I just had a horrific accident. I'm done. But he wanted to come back. He's the ultimate competitor. He is Michael Jordan on a golf course where he attacks the golf course. He makes the golf course afraid in a way. And nobody has made people feel more afraid in a sport, in my opinion, than Tiger Woods has in golf. Eric Lindros was really intimidating. I mentioned Michael Jordan. You could name off competitors in different sports. Barry Bonds, you could argue the steroids were a little scarier than Barry Bonds' play. But Tiger Woods has made so many great golfers just lose it, lose their grip, lose their focus, squeeze a little harder, and before they knew it, they had a chance at winning it all, and it was gone. People melt. They're not the same player. And the fact that we get to see, whether it's a lesser version, of course, But we get to see Tiger Woods at, I think he's 46 years old, play at his favorite course in the first weekend in April. It's pretty special. It's really special. It's not human what he's doing. Normal people can't do what Tiger Woods can do. But like I said, this is not about him. Maybe he goes on and has a great tournament. That's great. But if he shoots 12 over, he's on the course. I think you just got to appreciate, because I love golf. I don't have a horse in the race. I don't care how well he does. I'm going to enjoy seeing him. I already told my employer that I'll be bringing my computer to work and I will be working and listening to the golf at the same time, because I want to see Tiger on the course. I want to see it. And it's a great story nationally. But CBS, the Golf Channel, they have to be just so excited, because when Tiger Woods is at an event, their job becomes vastly easier. They don't have to do as much. They don't have to create stories. They don't have to go to different shots. It's just, let's follow Tiger. It was a story yesterday on the range that Tiger Woods was not wearing Nike sneakers. He was wearing FootJoys. That was a story. That was leading Golf Channel. Not that Hideki Matsuyama, the reigning champion, might not play because of a neck injury, or that world number one Scottie Scheffler has arrived. No. Tiger is not wearing Nike golf shoes. He's wearing FootJoys. What's up? Him and Nike parting ways? What? No, but it was a story. And I think he hasn't even hit a club yet, but I think, you think of the ESPYs, think of awards, comeback athlete of the year, those type awards, he's already won it. At his age, what he's been through to get back, it does not matter how he plays. Tiger Woods is a lot like Alex Smith, the National Football League. If you recall, Alex Smith had one of the most horrific injuries I can recall. There was a documentary of 30 for 30. I hardly got through it. It was really emotional to see him, the surgeries he had to go through. He was so close to losing his leg, but he fought back. He didn't want to go out on their terms. He went out on his. He got back and started 6 games in the National Football League. He got his team to the playoffs. After all of that, I view this the same way. I don't think Tiger wants the narrative that, well, the accident took my career, or, his addiction at one point to pain meds ended his career. No, he will be the author of his own fate. He will say, this is when it's over for me. He might play at 4 more Masters. We'll see how this goes. They're playing at St. Andrews this summer for the British Open. Maybe he's there. But it's an incredible story. Again, I can't wait for the tournament to start. There's so many. I'm not a guy that loves just focusing on Tiger for the coverage. I'll admit, as you know, I like to talk about different people, different sports. I don't love how they only focus on the Leafs in Canada. I find that journalistically really boring, really lazy, quite frankly. I like to talk about teams that you don't necessarily hear of every day. So, will I enjoy seeing Tiger? Of course, but I do want to hear about Scottie Scheffler. I do want to see. I think pairing Tiger with Louis Oosthuizen is a smart thing, because he's not paired with anybody that's even close to being one of the best players in the world. Although Louis Oosthuizen has finished top 5 in the last 6 majors. So I'm shocked that Tiger's not paired with Justin Thomas. The two are very good friends. I think if Tiger had his way, he'd be playing with Justin Thomas. But maybe he didn't want that pairing. Maybe he wanted something different. I don't know. But we'll have to wait and hear on that one to see, what kind of the behind the scenes stories of that was. But, it's just a fantastic story. Again, we're going to do our Masters draft later, me and Shamus. And kudos to Tiger. It's great for the golf world. It's a great story. Golf's been going on since January. But you get to the first major of the season and you see him on the course. This takes away from Phil not being there. Phil Mickelson has to be the happiest person on earth this week. He's not playing in the Masters because of what he was doing with the Saudi League. Because of some of the stuff he said publicly, which was quite frankly out of line. But now he's not there, but nobody cares. Phil Mickelson's not going to be brought up this week. It's not going to be, what's Phil doing? Nobody cares. Tiger's teeing it. Tiger's playing. Phil could be in fucking Antarctica. Nobody gives a shit. It's about Tiger Woods, his return. We'll see how long it lasts. Maybe it's 2 days. But that's 2 days more than I think a lot of people ever thought we'd get. Science says Tiger Woods shouldn't play. Again, after what he went through. But sometimes it's just incredible athletes, motivated people that can just physically do things that others can't. And Tiger is one of those freak people where he goes, I got a really bad leg. I shouldn't really play. It's dangerous for me to play, quite frankly. But you know what? I'm going to do it anyway. And you got to appreciate that about him. And like I said, he tees off Thursday at 10:34. Barring any setbacks, he'll be at the Masters. He's going to be playing. And I can't wait to see it. But like I said, you get Tiger. There's Justin Thomas, who has been playing some fantastic golf. Scheffler, number one. Rory McIlroy is trying to complete the career Grand Slam. He's played terrible at Augusta the last couple of years. Missed the cut last season. I'm looking Rory at the Masters. Really, Rory at the majors this year, I think, is interesting because he missed the cut last week at the Valero Texas Open. He missed the cut at the Masters. He missed the cut at the British. Dustin Johnson missed the cut at the Masters last year. He also missed the cut at the British. So two kind of veterans on tour. How did these guys play at the majors this year? Koepka was pretty good at the majors, but you got him. These two guys struggled. JT seems to always be in there. Jon Rahm won the U.S. Open. So how do the best players in the world react to this? How do they approach this? Colin Morikawa hasn't been playing well going into the Masters. Can he find it? Patrick Cantlay's out of sight, out of mind. He hasn't played much golf, but he won PGA Tour Player of the Year last year. So you'd think, okay, maybe Patrick Cantlay can find some pixie dust. He can have a really good week. He wins his first major. Canada, Corey Connors, even Matt Hughes, but you got some good Canadian content. I think this course really is great for Corey Connors. He doesn't bomb it off the tee, but he's got a good short game. He's a good putter. Don't be surprised if you see a couple Canadians at the top of the leaderboard at some point this week. And would I bet on a Canadian to win it all? No, because they can't seem to close. But Connors and Matt Hughes are both good players. They're always in contention, and we'll see what they can do this week. But again, Masters is always fun. Augusta, Georgia. I can't wait for it to start. Should be a ton of fun. A lot of things. Shamus. I'm sure we'll talk about the Leafs. They had let's go there. I am a person that I like to think that I have an objective. I have a realistic view of sports. I like to think life, but maybe it's a presumptuous on my part. Maybe it's a little egomaniacal. So let's just keep it to sports. I like to think I have an objective view. I don't sugarcoat things. And normally, I think I'm right. Normally, I'm proven right too. But anyway, for a long time, the Toronto Maple Leafs have been a team that has played a certain way, had certain players, and for a minute, they make you think this team is going to go far. I've never been in that camp. I've always been, I don't see it. They're too skilled. They're too soft. I don't think they really care that much. And Game 7, loss after loss, choke job after choke job. Eventually, you just look around and say, well, Bob's your uncle. I guess I was right again. But over the last couple weeks, and for the most part this season, I think we've seen a shift in the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm starting to believe, just by watching them, that they're not the Toronto Maple Leafs of old. They're not the Maple Leafs that have great regular season numbers. Their players get a whole lot of talk. They get to the postseason, and they lay a goose egg. And the reason I say this, it's less Matthews. I'll talk about that in a minute, about his goal number. That's great. I really don't care about individual regular season achievements. I'll leave that for his mother and his trophy case. But the more important element here about the Toronto Maple Leafs and why I believe I'm starting to see a new team, a team that could really win in the playoffs, is I just see a sense of urgency, a sense of care. They're hungry on pucks. In Tampa last night, they wanted it more. They wanted it more than Tampa. They worked hard. They got in corners. They get depth scoring. Pierre Engvall's got 13 goals. I still don't think he's a very good player, but he's got 13 goals. I can't kill him that much. Goaltending, I'll get to in a minute. Still not settled on that. But I just look at this team, and they play like a team that could do something in the playoffs. It's not all skill outside of the zone. When the second somebody lays a hit on you, you turtle and you skate to the bench. I just don't see that anymore. Matthews is a big man. You're starting to see him use that physicality. You're starting to see him say, you know what? I'm bigger than you. I'm going to go in the corner and get the puck. Before, he didn't do that, and it was incredibly frustrating. Marner is sneaky. He's like Braden Point, less physical, but he can get pucks without taking great physical abuse. He has a knack for getting to these areas of the ice, and you're like, that was a really smart play, and it's in the back of the net. He's going to have his detractors, but you look at it, you look at his game, you look at his numbers, the people that wanted him traded should just write him a note and give him an apology, because you love him now, but you wanted to kill him in the summertime. That's another problem I have with Leaf fans, but I guess that's fans as a whole. But I wouldn't say they have an edge, because they're not like Minnesota has an edge. They play with edge. Again, I love Minnesota, but but I see what I would say for the Toronto Maple Leafs is they compete shift in, shift out. And I don't think you can say that in the past. Their level of compete is consistent game after game after game. And eventually you look at their collection of their team and you're like, yes, this should have happened years ago. Tavares hasn't been there for 5 minutes, but it's starting to click. You look and you say every line has just some guys that I think Matthews has become just a guy that's like, hey, we're going out there, we're winning this shift. I'm getting a goal this shift, whatever it is. That's what's coming. That's what we're going to do when I'm on the ice. The second line, Tavares, he has games where he looks fleet of foot, but when he gets to the front of the net, he is one of the strongest players in the NHL. He has a knack for getting pucks in the back of the net, and I also think he works extremely hard. So he sets that tone. You go down the lineup, they just have these guys. I mentioned Engvall. Bunting drives it out because he's a pain in the ass. He drew a penalty last night that led to a goal. That's smart stuff. You need those kind of plays. But yeah, I think you should take me saying this with way more clarity than anybody else because they're starting to show it. For the record, I've done this podcast last year, but I always talk to people about sports because that's even before I started doing this. I've never picked Toronto to win a series since this started. Since they made the playoffs in whatever it was against Boston the first summer, I've never picked them to win a series. Never. And I picked Montreal last year. They've never won one. I'm not willing to say they'll beat Tampa because I think that's going to be tough. But if the Toronto, I'll say it right now. Leaf Nation, this is for you. If the Toronto Maple Leafs play the Boston Bruins in the first round of the 2022 Stanley Cup playoffs, they will win that series in 6 games or less. I was going to say 5. Could be. Should be, really. But the way last night went, it could have been better. Matthews has a special night. You beat Tampa, 2-time Stanley Cup champs, reigning defending champions. And the Bruins win and surpass Tampa in the standings. Toronto playing Boston is their best option. You do not want to go to Tampa Bay. You don't. You don't want to. They played well last night, but I just don't think you want that in the first. Deal with it when you have to. You shouldn't be afraid of them. But I said if you had your choice, Boston's your way to go. But if you play Boston, I think you're going to win that series. No, it's not out of the realm of possibility that they could catch Florida and get first in the Atlantic. I doubt it, but they could do it. They play them 2 or 3 more times. They need to win tonight. They're in Florida tonight. It's big that you get that 2 points, win in regulation to keep getting closer to the Panthers. They played a lot of tight games lately. Big comeback against New Jersey over the weekend. They beat Buffalo in a tight game on Sunday. So they've been involved in some tight games. Leafs are on a back-to-back. Shalgren gets the start. But the team looks different. It doesn't have the same feel. I never want to look at a team and say, going into a playoffs, you say, I'm worried about this team physically. I've always been worried about the Leafs physically because the skill game is great, but the game when the going gets tough and there's no ice, can you get something going? Can you produce? The post doesn't count because that didn't go in. Shot attempts, expected goal, whatever the hell metric you want to use, I could care less. Did the puck cross the line? Can somebody make a play at the right time? I look at this team, they can. I believe they can. Now, is my opinion worth everything? No, but I watch a lot of hockey. I watch a lot of sports. And I look around. Tampa, they're still trying to figure it out. Can they figure it out in time for the playoffs? Nick Paul, Hagel, they got to fit in. Vasilevsky didn't have his best game last night, for sure. If I still was going into the playoffs and I had to pick one goalie, if I had a draft, I'm picking him every time. But they have their warts. Toronto's got more offensive firepower than they do. I think it's close. But yeah, I think it'll be close. I love Florida. Beginning of the season, I picked them to win the Stanley Cup. But I hate their game sometimes because they're very, very loose. I thought the Leafs and Panthers were very similar for a long time. I'm starting to see the Leafs are more structurally sound than the Panthers. Now, Barkov, Huberdeau are still elite players for Hagee. But Claude Giroux hasn't done much. I mean, they have a good defense core, but Uyghur can get lost in space. They have a lot of guys that like to take chances. They're a team that takes a lot of penalties. That can catch up with you. So you got to look at that. Toronto should beat Boston. Boston's an old team. Toronto's got better depth than Boston. You'd think Toronto has better goaltending than Boston. Jeremy Swayman is a journeyman. Jack Campbell was an all-star this year, the great Jack Campbell. So I think if you're a Leaf fan, you should feel really encouraged. And this is different than past years. Now, I still would worry about the net. That's just me. I'm not the biggest Jack Campbell guy. But what you got to hope is that your team defense, which has improved dramatically, will continue to be that way in the playoffs. Giordano is going to have his nights where he gets burned. Blake Wheeler put him on roller skates last week, but he's 38. That's going to happen. Jake Muzzin is supposed to play tonight, so he's going to return after getting his concussion. So Muzzin's back. You got Giordano. I don't know what they're going to do with their defense score. Giordano and Liljegren play well together. Sandin's also got to return. So I think they still have some decisions to make. Right now, if it's me, I would scratch Justin Hall. I would keep Liljegren with Giordano, which is crazy because I think, Liljegren still has his warts. But I think they have good chemistry. I don't think you want to go through so many pairs throughout, down the line here. I just don't. I wouldn't. But we'll wait and see. I'm looking up, trying to find the lineup for tonight. So we move forward here. I don't see anything. See who's coming out of the lineup for the Leafs. I was busy pre-show, so I didn't get to look this up. But like I said, if it was me, Justin Hall would come out. Muzzin would draw in. That's just me. But again, pardon me, as I just thought I'd get this right because I wouldn't want to do that. No, nothing yet about the lineups tonight. Just looking up Leaf reporters, it's all about Matthews' big night. But I'll keep trying to look for that. But I'll pivot to Auston Matthews. Last night, I think, was a big night, obviously. Auston Matthews scores a hat trick, gets to 54 goals, ties Rick Vaive for the most in franchise history. I said by the time they got back home Saturday, he'd have the record broken. I think I'll be proven right on that. But more than that, last night, I believe Auston Matthews clinched the Hart Trophy. I believe the remaining 12, 13 games, whatever's left, I believe it doesn't matter. Draisaitl, McDavid can do whatever they want over this next stretch. I believe that Auston Matthews has locked up the Hart Trophy, and he has won the Rocket Richard as well because I don't think Draisaitl is going to catch him. Auston Matthews has been the best player in the NHL this year. I think it's very hard to argue else. It's hard to argue to the contrary. The impact he has night in, night out. He's taken a next step. I thought he had a great season last year. He's taken a next step on top of that. He's truly transformed his game into being a dominant center. He's good on the draws. He's improved defensively. He steals. And, when the top 50 players comes out next year, it wouldn't shock me if Auston Matthews is number 2. But I truly believe last night's effort won him the Hart Trophy. Maybe something crazy happens over the next 12, 13 games, but I just don't see it. I think it's on lock for him. I think it shouldn't, I think it was kind of unlocked before, but I think you have special nights. You're setting records. He's going to have his first 100-point season, which I think is a big deal for him. He's never done that. Marner's going to get to 100 points. It's special, and I just don't think we're going to see somebody have an impact on a team down the stretch that is more. Do I think Auston Matthews is the most valuable player to the Toronto Maple Leafs? Yes. I don't think he's the most valuable player. If you look at situations, I think Roman Josi is far more valuable to Nashville than Matthews is to Toronto, because I think without Josi, Nashville doesn't have a chance. Kaprizov, I think, is more valuable in Minnesota than Matthews is in Toronto. But again, I'm talking about different situations where you rely on that player so heavily. You got Marner, Tavares, Nylander, Morgan Riley has had a good season. But I think when you just look at dominant, I think the award should just be the best player that season. It shouldn't be the most valuable player to your team. I think it should just be the Hart Trophy, the best player. And I think this year, Matthews has been the best player. Every night he has, his goal scoring prowess is off the charts. And he's great in a big market. That's impressive to me as well, because that's a lot of pressure to do it. I don't think it hurts him that he plays in a big market. But I also think, a Toronto Maple Leaf has not won the Hart Trophy for league MVP since the 50s, which is hard to believe. Doug Gilmour never did. Sundin. You go through the list there. Darryl Sittler. The great players the Leafs had, nobody won a Hart Trophy. This is an unprecedented award. Normally when you win the Hart Trophy, you win the Ted Lindsay because the players vote the same, which is funny in a sense. But, kudos to him. He's going to break Rick Vai's record. I think he'll do it tonight. I think he'll score 55. It's stupid to bet against him right now to score. That's a loser's race, to quote, a former great Leaf coach, Impact Win. Now, and I'm not the type of person that says, well, this means nothing. No, you got to appreciate. I said this last week. You have to appreciate what's going on right now. The playoffs are the playoffs. Maybe he'll stink it up in the playoffs like he did last year. Maybe, but you can't control that. Enjoy what's in front of you. Just think, you've never had a Hart Trophy winner. Generations of people didn't see one. The 50s. Okay, 50s, a lot of people are still alive. A lot of people aren't. They didn't get to see it. You get to see somebody win the Hart Trophy on your team. You're going to have this fantastic season. You're going to get over 110 points. You might set a franchise record this year with most points in a season. Mitch Marner is going to get 100 points. Who knows? Maybe Michael Bunting wins the Rookie of the Year. I'll be shocked, and I'll actually be upset if he does, because he shouldn't win it. But nevertheless, maybe he will. So it's a Leaf frenzy where the awards just go to all the Leaf players. But it's a special season, and you got to appreciate what's in front of you. You have to. Because having that negative attitude all the time, I don't think you'd enjoy sports, even as a fan. You don't win every season. Just think of this. Tom Brady almost went a decade without winning a Super Bowl. Cleveland Browns have never won a Super Bowl. Their fans are as passionate as anybody. I don't think they're as cynical as Leaf fans, though. Leafs have actually won a trophy. You might be 50 bleeping years, but it's better than winning none. You have special talent. You're in a position to start a playoff series at home. You still are in a position to potentially get first in the Atlantic. Maybe you go on a run here. You catch Florida, you surpass them, you get Washington in the first round. That's ideal. people are praying for Washington. But like I said just a few minutes ago, this Toronto Maple Leafs team is different than teams of the past. I don't view them the same way. They're not that soft, fragile, weak team physically and mentally that they used to be. I think they're stronger. I think they're more determined. I view this team as a force, as a team that can do some damage that I wouldn't want to play. No, you wouldn't want to play many teams in these. I think Washington's the only team you look at and say, yeah, we'll take them. Because they don't scare you one bit. But Leafs, Lightning, the Leafs are a scary team as well. If they play Boston, like I said, I think they should be favored in that series. Boston's an old team with depth that is not that great. Boston's going to have to rely on Jake DeBrusk, a guy who they wanted to trade, a guy who wanted to trade out of there to provide some much-needed scoring this season. Yeah, he got to 21 goals last night. He gets 2 goals and a win over Columbus. But you should be favored. You should win that series. But you appreciate what's in front of you. I think Montreal fans appreciated their run last year. They didn't win, but I think they appreciated. You look what happened this year. You take it on the chin. At least you had a deep run. But I also think if you're a Leaf fan, you appreciate this regular season. And see what happens. If they lose in the first round, then you can come yell at me because you can say I was wrong. Because I said I think if they play Boston, they're going to win that series. I'll say it right now. I'm not willing to say that with Tampa. Not yet. Maybe. Still got a ways to go. Maybe I'll get there by the end of the season. If they play Boston in the first round, which is who they play if the season ended today, they're winning that series. I think that. What's key for Toronto down the stretch here is that Jack Campbell gets healthy, gets centered, and starts playing like an elite goalie. Thought he played okay last night. Didn't love the second goal. Didn't have to make many great stops, quite frankly, because I thought the Leafs just played a really great game. The third period, I didn't really watch most of it because it was over. But also because the Leafs just didn't give up much. And that's something I preach forever as well. Team defense. You know something. You know your goaltending is not a strength. Anybody who preaches to me that goaltending is a strength in Toronto, I'll say they're fucking crazy. But something you can do, it's not illegal to do this in sports, is play team defense. Back check. Work hard. And I think you're starting to see that in Toronto, and that's something that's admirable. Took them a long time to heed my advice, but they're doing it. So eventually, Jug's the winner and everything. But I see Shamus is on the line, so bring him in here. See if we can connect the first time this week.
Can you hear me this time?
Yes, I got you.
Oh, it only took us 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
How are things, my friend?
Good. I just heard you talking about how great my Leafs were. So, I love a great start to the pod. I appreciate the compliments.
Yeah.
No, things are good. How are things with you?
Good. Yeah. No, good. I've actually been getting a lot of negative texts from people.
Oh, what's this about?
About my hair.
Oh, okay. Well,
I've been told to cut the hair. I've been told that. Yeah.
Okay. Funny enough, I just got to cut myself today. So
it looks fresh. Looks good.
Thanks, my friend. Yeah, not the not the greatest, but that's okay. There's a story behind everything. No, but yeah, I don't. Your hair doesn't look that bad to me. I don't know if you're gonna go full. We'll say full Messier like you did the time at College Hill when you just kind of arrived one day completely bald and took me by surprise. But
yeah, I still want to cut it, and when everybody wants me to cut it, I really don't want it. So
it's not like you to go against the grain, right?
Yeah. No, that is my MO in life. But no, what's up with the hair? You're not happy with yours?
No, it just went to this guy. He was the only guy in there. I'm like, oh, this is perfect. I'll go in 20 minutes. I'll be in and out, like a normal haircut should be. This guy started talking, and I swear to God, he just wouldn't stop. It was 45 minutes before I could get out of there, paid and out the door. And you know me, I'm pretty polite. I don't like confrontation or awkward situations, so I stayed away from saying anything. But yeah, I mean, I'm a busy man. I got shit to do. Yeah, I can't be sitting there 45 minutes in the chair. And it's the ones where he goes like he gets the two hair and cuts it like that. I'm like, no one needs to do that. No one needs to be that meticulous about what their hair is cut.
No,
so,
I mean, I do
my rant of the day. I won't do it again. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit excessive. I would have said something, but that's the difference between me and you.
I love how people are grilling you, though.
Yeah, it is. No, I was saying, I don't know if you heard this, but I said that I think if your Leafs played Boston in the first round, they're a lock to win that series.
I'm not going to say anything because I just feel like I jinxed it. I want to say they've been playing really good lately. Campbell looked actually half decent last night. He made some semi-impressive saves. And I think things are looking, bright, but I don't say anything until something magical happens. We'll put it that way. I don't even like talking about it.
So let me say this. If they say this playoffs started tomorrow night and they're playing Boston, should they be the favorite?
Yes, but they've been the favorite before. They've been the favorite in, I would say,
every series. Yeah.
Yeah. The first time they played Boston, maybe not, but the second time, I think they had pretty high hopes because that's when they got JT in the mix. So, yeah, I don't know. It's good, but Boston's also playing really good. They're 8-2, just like the Leafs are. So, it's really incredible. Like to think that Tampa, Boston, and Toronto are all right there. And right now, none of them have any game. I think they all have maybe 69 games played.
Yeah.
It's really like something to be watched. And, I'm usually just following Toronto. Now I follow the whole division because I need to know where everyone ranks up and where we're going to fall.
Right. Yeah. Tampa's now in the first wildcard spot, which is
wild.
Which is crazy. Kudos to Boston for battling, and they never go away. They're stingy, old group, but they find a way to keep winning. You mentioned Campbell. He's back. He's played a couple games. 1 to 10 confidence in him right now.
Better than when he was out. I thought he'd come back and kind of not do well, but the thing is with this team and how they're playing, like it'd be easy to shit on him if the team sucked and then he came in and then sucked with them. But the team is playing well and covering, some of his deficiencies, right? And I think Giordano's helped him a lot on the back end, like some small plays here and there. There was one when they were playing Winnipeg where Blake Wheeler chipped it up, and it was going to be an easy breakaway for Pierre-Luc Dubois. And Giordano just had his stick in the right spot to jam it. So I think just small things like that have helped out the goaltending, which obviously, reflects on their stats.
Yeah. I think Gio's played pretty well too. Obviously, other than the Wheeler play, which is going to happen. He's 38. That's bound to happen. But with Muzzin's supposed to be playing tonight. He's supposed to draw back in. I was saying, I think with Muzzin coming back, I would scratch Hall and keep Liljegren. I think Liljegren and Giordano have played pretty well together. They seem to have, and I wouldn't want Gio to play with so many guys. I get you want to experiment, but eventually you kind of want him to have a set guy. Where do you lean on that decision, whether to go with Hall or go with Timothy drawn out?
I like the idea of taking Hall out, and then then it's it'd be Lyubushkin, Morgan Riley, TJ Brody, and Hall, Muzzin. I don't mind that. Yeah, I like to keep Gio at the bottom. I think Liljegren's actually played pretty decent over this 5-game win streak. He's not doing too much, but at the same time, a lot of his ass is being covered by the 38-year-old, like you mentioned. So, yeah, I don't mind that one bit. You take Hall out, and if anything, you're giving him a little break. Hall's a bigger guy. Obviously, he lugs a lot of minutes when he plays in the top 4. So if you're taking him out and even giving him a small break, he could come back later on and be healthy. And hopefully ready to play. And it'd be interesting to see what a Muzzin and Brody, pairing would look like. Obviously, Muzzin needs someone good to play with. Before he was playing with garbage. Before they got Lyubushkin, before they got Giordano. So if you give him someone decent like Brody, I think that's going to help him out too.
Right. Yeah. I'm interested to see where they go there, but they got Florida tonight on a back-to-back. Your boy Eric, aka Jerry Shalgren, will get the start.
Why? Where's that name coming from?
It's just whenever I hear like some backup goalie, I just go to like Jerry or like some random name because I'm like, who is this muffin?
Yeah.
But yeah, Eric, Jerry Shalgren gets the start tonight for the Leafs as they head into Florida to wrap up a back-to-back. Matthews, I also said this to start the show. I don't know if you heard this. I think last night he sealed the Hart Trophy.
I think he's got a good case. I think he's got a really good case. And it's hard to believe he might even – I mean, he's probably going to get 60. I don't want to jinx that, but he's on a trajectory. Yeah, that would be that'd be something. But yeah, no, I think he has kind of locked that up just with in the play of the last 5-6 games. And there's nothing against Igor. I think Igor was right there all year long. But they've just played so well. And Matthews doesn't do that without Marner either. Like Marner's played so well over the course of the last 15 games. I mean, you look at that second goal he scored last night. That was just a perfect pass right in front of the net, and it was just a deflection. But that all happens, and both guys work so well off each other. But I mean, we'll probably talk about Connor, or we can talk about Connor now and being in that discussion because his team is playing well and he's elevated his game as well too. So I don't know where do you stand on that? You have Matthews as a lock, but does he get the nod at least? Is that what you're saying?
Well, what I find funny is that, you could say, well, Draisaitl can't win the Hart or McDavid can't win the Hart because they cancel each other out. Well, how doesn't Marner and Matthews cancel each other out if that's the same logic? Or
they do. Yeah, I feel that.
You know what I mean? Like all these guys are top 10 in scoring. So do I think McDavid's been as good as Matthews this year? No. But I also think it's kind of like, can't McDavid, Draisaitl, they're not getting nominated, but they're 1-2 in scoring. Like Draisaitl's got 50 goals, 101 points. Like it's not like he's sniffing cow shit out there.
And they play on different lines too, where Marner and Matthews play on the same line, right? So I see your argument there. I guess for me, if 10, 15 games earlier in the year, I would have said, well, they're hardly in a playoff spot. Why would they deserve to be there? Now they're probably, I don't know, you would know, second in the Pacific.
If they win tonight, they'll be second in the Pacific. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, they kind of have entered themselves in there and they've played really, really well. I feel like the team itself has kind of had this new second life where Koskinen's get out together. Their defense actually looks half decent. But yeah, no, it is tough when you've got, 10 guys in the top 10 in points and 6 of them are like pairs. You got Matthews, Marner, Tkachuk, Gaudreau, Draisaitl, and McDavid. So, and they all play like frequently together.
What I kind of think is that they should create another award where they keep the Hart Trophy is just the best player that season, just the best player. And I think Matthews would win it this year for sure. But I also think they should make an award most valuable player to his team. I think that's different because I think Roman Josi is more valuable to Nashville than Matthews is to Toronto. And why I say that is because I don't think Nashville would be a playoff team without him. I think Toronto would be a playoff team without Auston Matthews.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Or like Kaprizov in Minnesota, like he has way less to work with than Matthews does in Toronto.
Yeah, for sure too. He does play
out great. Yep.
He doesn't. His decor is not as solid as some of those ones. I'm sure if he had Josi playing in front of him, he probably wouldn't even get a sniff this year.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I think there's just certain guys like that's an award I think could be added because I think it's different from the best player because I think those two things can get intertwined.
What about a line of the year? You pick one line
Love
and
it.
say this is the line, and they all earn a trophy. They all maybe it's
It's
chived up
kind
and
of
stuff.
like the goaltending duo that gets the best goals against.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I forget the name of it.
I guess the
It's
Jennings Trophy, I think.
Yeah.
Love that idea. Who would get it? Who would get your vote?
This year, that's a good one. It'd be biased, but I think the Bunting, Marner, and Matthews line doesn't look too bad on that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd also has Randon and Kadri played all year together, or are they separate
It's
those
tough
two a
because
lot?
McKinnon's out all the time, and then Kadri's out now. So I
Right.
would. My mind went to Calgary, Lindholm,
Yeah,
Gaudreau, and Tkachuk.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. They've all played phenomenal.
Yeah, that line is. I mean, they win games. That's my one worry about Calgary is their depth, because that line just does everything for them. But yeah, I would be all for that. And I also think if goaltending and defensemen can't win the Hart Trophy, then don't have the Norris and don't have the Vezina, because I'd rather just have throw them all in there together. It feels like they can't win it. I don't know why, but that's just the feel that I get.
Yeah, I can't off the top of my head. I can't remember the last time a D or is it Price? Would that be the last guy to win a
Price
Hart?
is the last non-forward to win it.
Yeah, which has been too long, and there's been some really, really good players pass through there too. Tough when you got like guys like Connor and Leon who put up 100, 120 points every year, dominate, and then I understand from a statistics standpoint why you would be like, okay, I'm hesitant to give the guy who gets half as many points to that trophy. But I agree. Like, I don't know why they divvy it up like that. Like, should we just go? Would you just rather go forward, goalie, and then D, or just all at one?
All one, I think. Yeah, I think. Yeah, because it's just. I mean, it's all intertwined for sure, but I think it would be fun. Like but now I feel like the voters, people I don't care for that have voters, so that have a vote, but we won't go there. But a lot of it is tough because it's like people have votes in Boston, or they have votes and they vote for your guy, right? Like people stuff the ballot box. And like Iginla didn't win a Hart because the people in Montreal didn't put Iginla on the damn ballot. They put him fourth, which screwed him. So Jose Theodore, your boy, won the award. So, I think it can get tough that way, and it can kind of get complicated with all the different positions and what's more valuable and who is the best player. But yeah, I think Matthews has got it locked up. Wouldn't be surprised if he passed Rick 5 tonight in Florida. He's scoring every other night, so it's stupid to bet against him at this point. Who would scare you more in a playoff series? This is two different. This is not Toronto based. I'm just two teams that I like that I think are going to be tough outs. Minnesota or the Rangers?
Oh, I'd be more scared of Minnesota. Yeah, I'd be more scared. Now that they have a goaltender and they're just so thick, those guys just meat and potatoes every night. Jeez, no, there's no hand sandies going in there. It's just all meat and potatoes every night for those guys. Right. Even Eriksson Ek, who quote unquote Swede, he throws body every night. He's a skilled guy.
Yeah.
So like, if your skilled guys are doing that, what do you think the fourth line's going to do?
Yeah, you got Eriksson Ek, Greenway, Delorier. I mean, they come at you. Foligno is tough son of a bitch. I mean, I look at, they're on fire right now. They're like your Leafs. Boston, Minnesota, Toronto, I think are the three hottest teams in the NHL. They're on fire. And yeah, if I'm St. Louis, I'm not excited about playing Minnesota because I mean, Cam Talbot's had 5 starts since the Fleury trade. He's allowed 6 goals. I think they're going to start Fleury, but I don't think it's an easy decision. If he plays like this down the stretch, I think he's like, hey, I'm still here, guys. Like, maybe throw me in the net game 1.
Yeah, Dean's going to have a hard decision. You go with the hot hand or do you go with the wily vet? What would you do if you were old beanie boy?
I'd probably start. It's tough because I'd probably start Fleury initially, but I'd have a quick hook.
As soon as he lets him, that's the first goal of the playoffs. Hey, get in there, Cam.
It could be like a Washington situation where it's like, okay, go out there, Grubauer. Okay, he stinks. Holtby, let's go. Like you're in. You know.
Hey, they won a cup,
yeah,
so
I don't Fleury as you know pedigree and all this, but I don't think it's like, oh, you got to play him every game. Like the cancel culture with what Pete DeBoer did with Robin Leonard last year still irks me. But like if I was a coach, I don't give a shit about what people think. I'm just trying to win a game here.
You know your team better than anybody. Well, we're on the Minnesota topic. What do you think of Matt Dumba and McKinnon's scrap last week? Do you love that? Do you not like that from a Star?
I love it in a sense. I hate that he got injured. It's a double-edged sword because I like that he's sticks up for a teammate and goes at Dumba, handled himself pretty well in the fight, but probably just hit a helmet or something and something goes wrong. But I love it as a teammate, but the second his ass hits the bench and I'm Jared Bednar, I give him the old tap and I say, you're never doing that again. Ever. Okay. We got Curtis McDermott, who, just probably eats human shoulder, just eats shoulders for a living. Yeah. He's so big. He's going to go fight that guy for you. Or we'll get Tyson Yost, who's probably never thrown a punch. He's fighting before you are. So I like it, but never again. Never, ever again.
Yeah, his temper seems to sometimes get the worst of him. He got in that tilt in Arizona this year. It's just not like he's not privy to fighting because he will do it if he has to. It's just interesting to see because you never see it anymore. It's not like Crosby used to, but he doesn't do it anymore. Fight. You don't see McDavid drop gloves. Matthews doesn't drop gloves. He just cross-check people in the throat. So it's kind of like it's just funny to see a superstar actually chuck him.
Did you see what happened with Troy Terry over the weekend? And
I did. Beagle? I don't know. Did he have it coming, or was that totally unnecessary?
I think it was pretty unnecessary.
Yeah.
I normally stick up for the fighter, but I don't think this is a fighter move because Beagle went out a skill guy, and I think he was just upset that he's on the shittiest team in hockey, and he's gonna be playing in a barn that sits less than the Moncton Coliseum, and he's ASU University Coyotes, and you're getting pumped every night, and you got a team that lost 10 in a row prior to that game. They come in, Zegras makes you look like a fool, and I don't think that's needed. Like I would be upset. I think Zegras, good for Zegras for coming out and saying it because that kid's got some balls, and I don't mind him being boisterous about it.
Yes, it's a bigger deal if this is a tight playoff race and Anaheim's trying to get into a wild card position.
Right.
But because they stink and they're trying to stink, I mean, it's not obviously blown up, but yeah, good for Zegras. I mean, there's quite a few people chirping him online for saying something, but like you said, at least he has the nuts to say something to a veteran and a guy who's won a cup before.
Before we get off hockey, Keith Yandle was scratched over the weekend, and that made a lot of people angry. JR, you had kind of Chris Pronger talk about it. You had the Spit and Chicklets guys who just love Keith Yandle, so that's not really an objective point of view. But anyway, some people listen to them. I don't, but some people do. What'd you make of it? And obviously you got more attention because they were playing the Leafs Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, I say this: all good things have to come to an end, Juggy. All good things have to come to an end, and it's not like he's played. It's not like he's played himself into the lineup, and it's easy for management to say, "Hey, we got to showcase some young talent here." They played their college defenseman who they signed and drafted. Their team stinks, and they got to let their fans know that there's something in the future. Keith Yandle's not your future. I'm sorry. I'm
No.
sorry, Biz and Whit and JR. I didn't realize JR chimed in too. He's
he said no veteran will ever want to sign in Philly now because they did that to Keith Yandel.
Yeah. Just remember that Mike Babcock scratched Jason Spezza his first game as a Leaf.
And he also scratched Mike Modano his last game of his career. He could have got the 1,500, and he scratched him.
I forgot about that. That's such a yeah. Let's can we round that out? No, you're off the line. Sorry, Mike. Yeah, no, it's bad, and I do feel for Yandel. He's, I actually have a lot of respect for him because I think he's a warrior, and I think he's probably one of the ultimate, teammate guys. Everyone who I hear from and interviews, when he got his 1,000th, they all said that they love him. But yeah, I mean, those things happen, and you kind of can't make a big deal about it.
Yeah, and if you've watched him play. And as you know, I like to watch bad teams because that's just one of my, we'll call them phobias because I don't have another better word for it. Philly stinks, and Keith Yandel has a lot to do with that. You can look at advanced metrics. You can look at old school metrics, the plus minus people. He's -39, and that's not good. If you're just new to that metric, that's not a good stat. So I don't think he'll be in the league next year. I truly believe that. I don't think he will be. And it's not privilege. You don't just get to play because he got past the record. He beat Doug Jarvis. He was going to be healthy scratch last year. If you remember, Shay, first game of the season, Florida was going to healthy him, and they cancel culture basically said, no, you're not doing it. And Quenneville's like, okay, I can't do it because people are so angry about it. So I don't feel bad for somebody that should have been scratched a year ago plus that has been playing poor. He was bought out last year. He was playing so well that the Florida Panthers said, we will pay you to not be here. We'll pay you to go to Philly. That's how much they value him. And yeah, I have a hard time. Good, great. But I also think the Ironman record is getting devalued by the years. Because I don't think Yandel is particularly a hardworking player, great defensively, takes checks. And just to point out this even more, look who's going to pass him next year. Your boy, Phil Kessel. I've never heard people consider Phil Mr. Backcheck or Charlie Hustle. So I think that hurts the award. I think it hurts that Ironman a little more to see those two guys at the top of the list.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind seeing Phil the Thrill win it. That'd be funny because he's got to be one of the most least athletic guys in the league. So yeah, it does decamper it. It's like, hey, it's not like Rob Brindamore who works his ass off in the gym didn't win it. No, it's right. Phil Kessel who's eating hot dogs and on the golf course, 4 days a week. But hey, I mean, it is strange, but even for Phil, I think he went. The day his daughter was born, he went and did one shift to keep the streak going, and then,
got a private bird and went home.
Yeah, went home to see his kid, which I thought was funny. Anyways, but yeah, it's good. And one last thing about Yandel, if he said it, he said it on an interview. He's like, if it doesn't bother him, why should it bother anybody else? Right. It's just the way they say it. He understands. He's been in the locker room. He knows. And I like Yandel, but at least he is the balls to say, hey, this is what the franchise has got to do. So if he doesn't have a problem with it, I don't know why.
Kudos to him for saying that. I wasn't aware of that, so good for him.
Yeah, if you can go look up his press conference, and I mean, he was aware he was going to be scratched, and it was fine with it. Yeah,
well, good for him for saying that, because I realize it sounds like I'm killing him right now, but
that's okay. He's not the hardest worker.
He isn't. Did you watch any of the national championship game last night?
It was on late. On late. I did watch. I did watch some of it. I did watch the half and then into the second half.
Wow. I didn't think you'd last that long.
Yeah, I know. But it was a good game. It was a game you couldn't just turn off because, first Kansas just takes the lead and you're like, oh, is this going to happen? Is this just a no fight final chance? And no, UNC just battles. They battled the whole first half. They had the momentum going into the first half, and I thought, yes, this is who I want to win. and they're going to win. And no, couldn't do it, and they couldn't pull it off. But good for them. I watched the rest of the highlights of the second half this morning. An unbelievable game. It's the game you want to watch. And, you couldn't write a better story than McCormick versus your boy Armando in the finals. I mean, the two of the best big men in all of college basketball playing each other on the biggest stage. I mean, it's like Cinderella story. Let's be honest.
Yeah, Baycott in the first half ties the record with David Robertson for most double-doubles in a college season, which is incredible. And I think UNC would have won the game if he didn't roll his ankle again. He was so clearly playing hurt. Like you saw, he's not that centered to begin with, but he's kind of awkward playing. But last night you could see him, he was kind of dragging his leg a little bit, and then he rolled his ankle again late in the second half. And I'm like, uh-oh. Kansas started grabbing boards. And Kansas doesn't have, McCormack's a good player, but he's an old school big. I don't know if he'll be an NBA player or have a big effect. But Kansas just they had a team. Christian Brown, Obaji, who I think will be a good NBA player. But you go through that lineup, Remy Martin off the bench. It wasn't, Duke where they had 5 first-round picks. I just think they all averaged, they all had at least 10 points last night, their starters, which is really impressive. They won by committee, and I just thought it was a really good team victory, and a really good team wins it all in the Jayhawks.
Yeah, I mean, at first seed, I mean, obviously it's not uncommon for them to win, but it is nice to see that they played their ass off all year. They didn't have UNC didn't have an easy go for the tournament, but neither did Kansas. Kansas had some tougher matches. They played Providence. They almost lost to Creighton, if you can remember, in the second round. Like, it wasn't like they just skimmed through. So yeah, great series. The Final Four was great too. I'm sure you were glued to your TV for all of that Duke and UNC game. But yeah, what are your comments on some of these UNC guys? Like, they're good. Are they good enough to get drafted? I know the Harris Love combo seemed okay, but where do you see them falling?
I like RJ Davis a lot. I don't know if if he'll make the NBA. I like the way he plays. Love, I think, will get a look. He's just got that cockiness about him. He is a good shooter, but I don't think he's, you look at the guards, like the white bigs are tough because I think Manic's a good player, but I don't think he's going to be in the NBA. But he played his ass off in the tournament. Like, he had 3 blocks in the first half, and he's tall, but he's not that tall. I think he's a good player. A guy off their bench who I hope goes back to school because he won't be a high draft pick is Puff Johnson, which is Cameron Johnson's brother from the Phoenix Suns. Number 14. He played limited minutes last night, but he had a big bucket to end the first half. He had that putback. He's a smart player. I think he'll be an NBA guy at one point, but I hope he stays in school and plays a little more because I don't think he's ready yet. But, Baycott is interesting because I just think he's a beast. Like, his work ethic is so, like, I'd look at him and be like, look at some of the bigs that get rebounds just because they're tall and be like, okay, Rudy Gobert, you got to go up against Baycott, who's got twice the motor that you'll ever have. We'll see how this goes. Like, he's not as big, obviously, as Gobert, as DeAndre Ayton, some of these guys, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a look.
Yeah, I could see Armando going second round, like a mid-second round.
Even an undrafted free agent, like you sign him, bring him in, see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I see a lot of the guys playing last night being in the G League or at least starting and then making their way up. I feel like McCormick will get drafted, but I feel like he'll probably spend a year in the G League at least. Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, your guy, Robert Williams, played in the G League. He got better.
A lot of great players
He's in the NBA now. These guys are playing in the G League now instead of college and then going in the draft. Jalen Green did that last year, and he's a pretty good player for the Houston Rockets. Called himself a bucket yesterday, which I found funny and nice. I like the confidence in the kid. But, yeah, that was a great tournament, great final game. And like you said, Coach K is gone, and now it's just where do we go from here? How is recruiting without Coach K? How does their program look? Do they change things up? Is it still the one and done approach? Hasn't worked for Duke, hasn't worked for Kentucky. They haven't won since they started that strategy. I'm looking forward to see what Duke is in the years to come now that Coach K is sayonara.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. It's not, I mean, they got to get out of that rut, and I think they just got to start trying new things and developing players like you should be doing at the college level. Absolutely. I mean, look, there was a lot of players last night who were not freshmen, and they're great players, right? Transfers.
Yep.
Manic was a transfer. A lot of guys just stayed there, became great players, and now they're the national champions.
I mean, the transfer portal is so sneaky now because you can get, like I said, you can get some good players. Doug Eater of forget their name. St. Peter's entered the transfer portal today.
Did he? I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, he's in the transfer portal. So their coach is now at Seton Hall. You could say, I mean, coaching in collegiate sports, that's a transfer portal. You're there for 5 minutes and you're gone. Like college football, I'm like, where did he go? He was Chris Beard was where? Oh no, he was at Texas Tech. Oh, now he's coaching Texas. Could you be more like Judas? So that I'm glad to see the players have some of that control now, as well. Last week of the basketball season for the playoffs, get the play-in next week. Think still a lot to decide. Still some races. LeBron is ruled out tonight. We're not going to talk about the Lakers because they're not worth our breath. But as we look at it, most teams have 4 games left. I think Heat have 3. Who's the MVP? We talked about it last week, but who's your MVP?
I hate doing this, but I'm still undecided. I still am. I know. I don't know. It could be. To me, it's a toss-up between Giannis and Embiid. I still think they're both right there. Giannis has, asserted himself in that conversation since we last spoke. But I hate the fact that you could watch them play and you could say the head-to-head, Giannis won that game. Giannis, he put up 40. He had a much better game than Embiid did. But that doesn't mean he's having a better season. And, just because Milwaukee finishes higher than Philly doesn't mean that Giannis is having a better season than Embiid, right? But if I'm still landing on one guy, I'm still giving it to Joel. I don't know. I still like him. I still like what he did for the squad and the transition and all the drama, like I mentioned last week. I'd still give it to him. Are you swaying towards the green?
Yeah, I think Giannis is. I don't know if I'm still don't know if he's going to win the MVP. I think he should, but I don't know if he will. I think Jokic is still right there for a lot of people. I mean, I watched that game against the Lakers on Sunday. I know.
Of course you did.
Yeah. He's unreal. Like he's a center point guard. Like he's a freak. Anyway, not a Greek freak, but he's
like a video game character. You want a video game guy to be good at everything, and that's what Jokic is.
Like it's like you're playing 2K. And you're like, okay, I want to build a big guard. You make him 7 feet tall, and he's like 265. And you're like, okay, oh wait, he can shoot threes and pass. He might be the best passing big man in the history of the NBA.
I would agree with that. I fully agree with that.
I've never seen he is such a good passer, and it's not just from the paint. Like he'll just spot guys, throw it I mean, they beat the Lakers. You can't take that much W, as I pointed out here. But I think he's still right there. But I think Giannis has played fantastic, and I also think he's became the best player in basketball.
Did the two April losses hurt, or do you think that you can let those ones slide?
For Milwaukee?
Yeah.
I think the Clippers is a write-off because he didn't play. So they lost by like 30 to the Clippers. 153 or something. Yeah. I think Sunday was a big game. For sure. I think it was a big game for Dallas because I think Dallas is really Luka's really good. I think Dallas is for sure going to win a round. I think it's not out of the realm of possibility they're playing Phoenix in the conference final either. I think they, depending, like it would be big if they could get that 3 seed and play Memphis, because I just don't see a team beating Phoenix. But if they could get that 2-3 matchup, play Memphis in the second round, I think that would be a tough series because Memphis is a young team, but again, Luka, I think, is the best player in that series. Jaw's great, but I think Luka's better than him. So normally you have the best player in a series, you're going to win it. So I think that would, if they can get the 3 seed down the stretch here, take it from Golden State, I think that would be really important for the Mavs.
Yeah. Yeah, just to wrap up, I guess, the MVP talk, I think with these last 4 games will determine for me who the MVP is. I think whoever just plays best and, maybe it's just an inch or 2 better, that's who I'll have my for sure.
I almost think that the Sixers would have finished higher if they didn't trade for James Harden. I think they could have been the 1 seed in the East if they didn't trade. I think their team would be better if they didn't have James Harden on it.
Yeah, I don't know, because they took that push right away and things were going really well, but then they did slide. And when Harden's not in the lineup, things don't look as solid as.
Or if they just traded, say, Simmons for Halliburton straight up.
Oh yeah, jeez. Yeah, that'd be attractive. I don't know if Sacramento would take that, but they have been pretty stupid with some other trades. So
they do stupid stuff on the norm. So if any organization is going to do something stupid, it's going to be Sacramento.
Yeah. So let's get into it. Who's your pretenders and who's your contenders? We'll start with one of your pretenders.
Philly.
I have Philly too.
Yeah, I just don't trust them. I like Embiid, but Harden, I don't like his motor. I think that trade really hurt their team, their depth. I mean, they miss Seth a lot. I think they miss Drummond. I look at what they gave up in that deal, and I'm like, their team would be a lot better suited if they had, those players that they had to give up. So, I think they can win a round. But I do think they could lose in the first round as well. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility, depending on the matchup that they get. But yeah, I don't like their makeup. I think their defense is suspect, and Embiid's gonna have to play 40 plus minutes every game because DeAndre Jordan coming on the floor is a goddamn nightmare.
Yeah, you don't trust Danny Green coming off the bench?
I trust him to hit an air ball or like he's missed 3 shots like that. He's a champion. He's a winner, but he's spent.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was rhetorical too for anyone listening. Yeah. No, I
like Niang. He's a good player.
Yeah. And for me, it's just Harden's history with playoffs in the past, and some of the big moments coming up. Just choke job. And yeah, like you just said, and if Embiid doesn't play well, they have nobody. They rely fully on Harden, who you never know. And besides those 2 guys, it's pretty I like Maxey, but he's not going to win you around.
Can the Nets be pretenders if they're an 8 seed or 9, like whatever they end up being?
I only took people at the top.
Yeah.
Although I did my eyes did wander down there, but I mean, it's funny that at the beginning of the year you would have thought Brooklyn, LA. Oh yeah, those aren't 2 teams.
They were the betting favorites to make it to the final.
And now those 2 teams are scratching to get in, and I'm like, oh geez, this is just too good. You couldn't write this up better. No, I don't think they're pretenders because they're just not even. I mean, they're not even contention.
And they play no defense, none.
No, it's pathetic.
Yeah. Like old Maestro, just
that's why they lost to Atlanta. We were talking about this tonight. It pisses me off because if I would have won that game, I would have won my pro line.
Should have won.
But yeah, they play a little bit of defense in that one. I mean, they're gonna win.
Yeah. Just some try.
Yeah.
And Kyrie's asking for days off now. He's tired.
You rested the whole year.
6 months off. Oh, Jesus. Anyway, I'm sick of Brooklyn. I'm sick of the Lakers. love KD, but the rest of them can beat it. Yeah, in the East, I don't think I like Miami. I don't think they're a pretender. Milwaukee, I think, is going to get back to the NBA championships. I don't think they're a pretender. Your Celtics, I don't think if you lose a round, you're a pretender. I think your Celtics could get to a conference final.
I think they can win a round. I think they can definitely win a round without, Robert Williams. But to go deep, no, I don't see that happening. They need him. They need.
Would you rather play Cleveland or Atlanta?
I'd rather play Atlanta.
I'd rather play Cleveland right now.
Yeah, I know Cleveland's not hot and Atlanta is, but I would be it'd be tough for Jason Tatum to go into the paint and get hit by, 3 7-footers every night and get whacked by those guys who actually play defense.
Yeah. Atlanta sneaky because they got hot last year. So you never know. They get in, like,
good for them.
Yeah, seed right now. I think they'll beat Atlanta in their playing game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
You Cleveland, you mean?
I think they'll beat Cleveland. Yeah, I think they'll.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what. Yeah, no, I mean, like you said, they're hot, and they were kind of a write-off. Like they had a pretty poor first half of the season, and they just kind of started to get it together. So good for them.
How about out west? Any pretenders for you?
You're probably gonna hate me for saying this, but I think the Suns are a little sus, and it's
wow.
You're like, okay, why? They're the best team in the league. They remind me a lot of the 2018 Tampa Bay Lightning because they're really good and I think they know it. Where last year they were a good team, but they didn't know it. And I think that'll bite them on the ass. So we'll see. It's either going to the finals or out first round.
Who's the biggest threat?
Like you said earlier, I think Dallas is a pretty bad threat for them. I think that could be really, really interesting.
Dallas is so crazy. They're better without Porzingis.
Yeah.
Like, that was a really good trade. Looking back at it, like, Dinwiddie's been playing well, but they just seem like they're having fun, like, playing basketball. He was such just a wet blanket that Luka's just like, I'll pass it to this unknown Lithuanian Kleber guy and Bertans, who's been on 8 teams. I'd rather have him than have Porzingis just clog up my lane.
Yeah, take some bad threes and then sit on the bench.
Yeah. 7-3 guy can't go in the post. Gotta love those guys.
Who's your pretenders from the West?
Golden State.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I talk about sus. Yeah, they're hurt. They don't have a big. Wiseman's not coming back. That's a bigger deal than I think people think. Like, Looney I like Looney because he plays extremely hard. I think he's one of the best guys when you set a screen. I think he's really screen when him and Curry, they play really well together. But Curry's hurt. I think Clay will be better next year. Play some basketball. You see nights, like he had 36 on Saturday. Like, he gets hot. He has those nights. But I can't rely on him. And I think they asked Jordan Poole, who's a stud, by the way, to do way too much. Like, he's making a minimum salary. I think he's clearly going to be making more coming up. He could get a max contract because I think he plays that well. But he's like a Fred VanVleet where he'll get a good ticket wherever if he stays in Golden State or goes elsewhere. But I just don't think they have the depth to go far.
Yeah, unless they're saving it all up from the playoffs, I just don't see enough out of them either.
Yeah, but yeah, the West is.
Oh, go ahead.
Like Utah, I think Utah's gonna be broken up after the season. I could see Gobert and/or Mitchell traded this offseason because they just they don't win anything and they're just kind of there. Like, every year they're just there. Like,
Yeah, they need to make some progress or things will be broken up for sure. I mean, it hurts Bogdanovich is out, but you can't just fold because one guy is hurt. That's Memphis they're not folding John Morant. So.
Who's the worst matchup for Phoenix to get as an 8 seed?
as an 8 seed. So what the options would be what LA.
So it'd be the
Clippers.
7-8. So Clippers, I think, would play the T-Wolves right now. So and then that loser would play the winner of 9-10. So
Is
that
Kawhi
would
coming?
be San Antonio, your Spurs, and the Pelicans.
Jesus. Is Kawhi gonna come back?
You never know.
Yeah. If he comes back,
I wouldn't
you
want
gotta
to play
worry.
the Clippers, personally. I think they're like a stingy group. Like, give me San Antonio is a dream. Give me them. They'll. You want to talk about just 4 games? Don't even gotta watch it. I'll recap that to you in 5 seconds. Just a mollywop of a series. But Clippers could be difficult because they just how do they have this good of a record? They missed Paul George for 3/4 of the year. Kawhi hasn't played a game. Reggie Jackson was retired, then came back. He's playing again. You look at that team, you're like, why are they 8 seed? And then you have the Lakers who are 11. It's comical.
Oh, Luke Kennard, your boy, the shooter.
He is my boy as a shooter. It reminds me of you, shooter.
I don't think I was that good, but I'll take the compliment.
You got that.
No,
that
lots
range.
go on though. If you're are you scared if you get the Pelicans?
If I'm the Suns, no, I'm not afraid of anybody.
All right.
Maybe Memphis in the first round.
That's the confidence I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
You get that kind of confidence.
Yeah,
maybe,
yeah. More than the Spurs.
Oh yeah, just a little bit.
More than the Spurs.
It's like Buddy cutting my hair. Like that's it. That's how much more.
But the Spurs are gonna make the playoffs, and the Lakers aren't. Shea.
Yeah.
Like that.
He's gone. He's gone. He's not coming. I know we didn't want to talk about LA, but he's gone. I don't know.
Who, LeBron?
Yeah.
Or street clothes.
Street clothes. Yeah. No. I think he just laid it down, and he's just gonna.
There's another good nickname for Anthony Davis on the Dan Patrick show yesterday. They called him Day-to-Day Davis.
Yeah. He's taken a beating online just for being a complete Band-Aid and a guy who just doesn't play.
Yeah. Oh, the playoffs are gonna be fun. Last couple games here. Before we get to our Masters draft, I know we wanted to talk about one baseball team that we think are kind of a sleeper, a team to watch with the season starting up in just 2 nights, 2 o'clock on Thursday, if you can guess. The first game of the season, Yankees Red Sox. That's a shocker, but that's the first game to start the season. But who do you like in baseball that's kind of a sneaky team that you think can do some damage?
Yeah, I think if everyone's healthy, I like this team. I like the Mets. I like the Mets a lot. You could say they didn't make that many additions other than Scherzer, but they added Eduardo Escobar, who's a pretty solid infielder defensively. He's an okay bat. Starling Marte, I think am I saying that right?
Yeah, Starling Marte, yeah.
And then Mark Hanna, all guys who I think can just go in if they do their roles. Then it's going to make them deep. It's going to make their batting deeper. And they already got a half decent team. Mm-hmm. They just kind of have to put it together. I think a lot of new faces though.
They got to hope DeGrom can come back.
It doesn't happen without Jake. That he's the oil that makes that motor go. So
yeah. I went with a team that has no history of making the playoffs, who always fails. Just you expect big things and they fail. But I like the team. I went with the Seattle Mariners.
Oh, I had a feeling.
And isn't that I got to get on the Mariners bandwagon. Go watch a lot of
games.
You won't be surprised to hear this, Shea, but I made a purchase this weekend that hurt me, but I did it. I bought the Major League Baseball package and for the season. Another streaming service that I have on my itinerary, but had to watch the Mariners, had to watch Cincinnati Reds Saturday afternoon, so I had to get it. I think the Mariners are going to be like my Minnesota Wild, where I watch them, or my Devils. Just a team I gotta keep track of them good pitching down there. I'm happy their top prospect made the team out of camp. No more service time. Get them in the lineup, and good baseball city in Seattle as well. So we'll see what happens with the Mariners.
Do you think the Kraken, being the Kraken there, takes away? I guess it doesn't really overlap all that much. It'll be like it'll just be the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, it would be good if the Mariners could make the playoffs, and you got Seattle Kraken starting up, you got the Seahawks, like that city would be electric. I think,
Absolutely. Maybe time for a trip.
Giddy up. You just gotta text me. I'm game. But yeah, and I think it's gonna be a fun season. Like, I'm looking forward to it starting. I think obviously close to the home front, the Jays are looking like a good team. Your Dodgers, spent a lot of money and they got a great team. So they got a lot of pressure though. Like the Dodgers having a great regular season means nothing. They got to win. Like it's win or nothing for the Dodgers.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they made the right additions. It's just kind of about putting those pieces together. When you put 3 former MVPs on the same team, there's going to be expectations. I don't care what anybody says.
I'll make a prediction right now before the series started. Before June, I'll say mid-May, Cody Bellinger is designated for assignment.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's got 2 hits in spring training.
Yeah. All right. So what did you say, May?
By mid-May, he will be in the minor leagues.
Okay. I'll remember that. I'm jotting that down right now.
That's my hot take, if you will. I'm on a hot take.
Okay. I love it, though. I love it. I have more faith in him. I think he's going to bounce back. I think.
Yeah. I hope he does. He's great in the field, but last year, I think he batted like 178.
Oh, it was awful. Yeah. That was pretty pathetic. I hope the Angels do well, too. I know it's a team we don't mention, but for Trout's sake and keeping that guy there, I hope he pulls it back. I think, Syndergaard, that could be a really good story if they get him and he pitches really well for the year.
My namesake,
yeah. And no, a lot going on. I'm really, really excited to get it going and to see Casey's Yankees have another filler of a year.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of hope in that team either. Masters starts Thursday morning. Tiger, aka Eldrick, is going to be playing. Great news, great story. I talked about that at the top of the show, but we wanted to do a Masters draft.
Are we doing it now? I thought we were going to do it on Saturday.
Well, I don't want to do it. I want to do it before because we'll know who's in the leaderboard then.
Okay. No. I just thought we'd do like a cut, like Saturday, Sunday.
Well, we'll figure out some stuff.
Okay.
Saturday,
let's do it.
I got a few things planned Saturday morning that I think will be
okay.
Fun. So we'll do that Saturday morning. But I thought we could pick 3 guys right now.
Perfect.
And your birthday's coming up, so I got something for you anyway. But we'll figure out we'll figure out some stakes. What the winner gets. I think you just, if you pick the winner, you win. I don't like the cut line and the scoring and all that. That gets a little overcomplicated. But you're the birthday boy coming up. You're the guest on the show. You get the first pick. Who would you like?
Appreciate that. No, that's a nice little pre-gift. Who do I like? He's been okay, I guess, but I could see him having a big tournament. Maybe he's just saving it all up. I'm going with the big Spaniard, your boy, Jon Rahm.
Yeah, I figured you'd take Jon Rahm.
You predicting my moves now? What's going on?
Well, I was worried you were going to take the guy I was going to take. So I said he's either going to take Johnny Rahm, who easily could win the Masters because he's a stick, or I was kind of hoping. Obviously, we were planning on having Casey on the show, just for everybody to know. Casey Ward, who comes on here frequently, but his grandmother passed away this week, so condolences to the family and to Case. We're thinking of you. But in honor of Casey, I'm going to take his guy, Justin Thomas.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, and he's playing pretty good too. I'm not that's not even like a far-fetched pick because you could pick him just out of the ordinary.
Yeah, he said 4 top 5 finishes, so he's right there. But he's never won at Augusta. Jon Rahm finished top 5 last year. So again, these guys are sticks.
I could see this, Chuggy. He's getting the green jacket, and instead of him, Tiger gives it to him.
So JT wins it, and he's like, Hideki, I don't want you. Tiger, put it on me.
Well, he's his boy, right? Like I thought those guys, I thought they were pretty
boys. I'm
tight. So,
surprised they're not in the same group, which surprised me.
oh yeah.
Eldrick's playing with Louis Oosthuizen, Uncle Louis. So I'm
Oh
happy.
yeah, the second place master. That's
Yeah.
good. Interesting to see how that goes. Yeah, no.
Who do you got next?
I'm gonna take. He's a little off the board, but he's playing good. And statistically, I've done my research. He's a good favorite. I'm taking Patrick Cantlay.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, was on my list, so I like that pick from you. He's had a quiet year, but he's a sneaky little devil.
I think
little tight
that's
corduroy pant, little Hugo Boss white shirt. You know he's gonna look terrible, but he's gonna be playing well. I like that pick. Where do I go? So many names here. I'm gonna save that guy because I don't think you'll take him with your last pick. I think he'll be safe. I'm gonna take a guy that's never won the Masters, who missed the cut last week at the Valero Texas Open, who needs this to finish off his career Grand Slam. I'm going to take your boy, the Irishman, just like yourself, Rory McIlroy.
I didn't think you'd take him. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't think that'd be on your list, but okay. No, I respect it. He does. He's looking to complete the circle here, so he needs this. I'm trying to think of the guy you're thinking of, so I can squash the confidence.
You won't guess it. If you do, I'll give you $10.
Is he an older guy?
Nope.
Cam Smith.
Good guess. Is that who you're taking?
I'll take Cam Smith. Yeah, he's
hot. But he was on my list, but that's not the guy I was thinking. But that's a great pick because I think Cam Smith can easily win this. This course is set up for Cam Smith, and he's also just phenomenal golfer.
Yeah, he's been real hot last few tournaments. Obviously,
he's unbelievable. But yeah, I like that pick. He was on my list, so he was close. The guy I'm going to take he's winning a lot on tour too. This guy, I think, will win a major eventually. I don't know if it'll be this week, but I'm going to take Mr. Burns.
I thought you were going to say Scotty Scheffler. No, that's a good pick too. Burns has been hot too, so I can see
Let's pick another guy. It's too much fun.
It's going to go all day. We're going to have 50 by the end of this.
We'll pick one more guy each and a long shot.
Okay. Okay. Jeez.
That's only 10 guys out of a 70 player.
I don't think he's going to win it, but I'd love to see him go far. Victor Hovland, if he's available.
Rick Hovland. I like that.
Yeah. Rick Hovland. Yeah.
Rick Hovland. I like that
pick.
pick.
He's a stick. I hope he does well this year.
Cam Smith is gone. That hurts me. Scotty Scheffler's sitting there. My team's got two favorites. I got to pick Sam Burns, but I'm going to go with a guy that I told you that your company, KPMG, should endorse. The hamburger himself, Daniel Berger.
Yeah, Danny Berger. No, that's a solid pick. He's never won one either, I don't think. So
nope.
Yeah, nope. He's due for a big one. He's due for a win too.
So long shot pick. Who's your guy?
He might not even be on tour anymore. I don't know.
Say the name. I'll tell you.
Lee.
Who?
Lee Westwood. Oh. Is he not on tour?
I gotta check if he's in the field. He's still on
maybe not. I can switch it up.
If
it's not him, and if he's not even contention, which he's an old bastard, so I don't know if he would be or not.
Who's that?
He's not.
No, who are you thinking of?
Oh, if it's not him, I'll take the other Spaniard, Abraham Answer.
Oh, Tiny Answer.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's on.
He's in the field. Tiny Answer's in. I know that one. Yeah. Tiny Answer. Okay, I like that one.
Who's your long shot?
Lee Westwood is actually playing. He is.
I'm switching to Lee Westwood.
Okay.
I'm switching to Lee Westwood. It's my original thought. I can't go back on it now. That looks
Lee,
weak.
I like that one better. Veteran Lee Westwood. Is Eldrick a long shot?
No. You saw what he did in 2019. This is be the greatest story in golf.
I'm gonna go with a guy who made a lot of waves at the Phoenix Open, the Waste Management, my favorite tournament. Took his shirt off on 16. This guy's a veteran. He's got a barrel. Harry Higgs.
He's a funny bastard too.
Yeah, he's great.
I watched some videos of him.
Good follow on Twitter.
Oh yeah, he's hilarious.
Just to recap: Team Shamus, John Rahm, Patrick Cantlay, Cam Smith, Victor or Rick Hovland, and Lee Westwood. My team: Justin Thomas, Rory McIlroy, Sam Mr. Burns, the Hamburger, Dan Berger, and Harold Higgs Jr. the third. That is the two teams. And we'll see how that goes for the first day. And why don't Saturday when we podcast, if any of our guys miss the cut or things of that nature, we can work out a system where we can swap them out and we can pick new guys.
Sure. Yeah, okay. I like that. I enjoy that.
Yeah, well, I think that'll be fun. I think Cole is going to come down Saturday for sure. He's going to podcast with us. You'll obviously be there. Still talking to Casey. Obviously, going to chat to Warman as well. So we'll see what comes of that. But I think Saturday will be fun. I'm looking forward to the Masters to start up, and it's always a great tournament.
Yeah, this year especially. I mean, it'll be Tiger focused, but I feel like it's going to be still just a lot of guys and a lot of great stories going to pop up from it, I believe. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. Well, Shay, I'll let you get to your affairs. One last hot take. And one guy I got to shout out. Ryan Getzlaf, who retired today. Ultimate captain, great warrior, guy who's won a cup, Hall of Famer, in my opinion. And he hangs him up after 17. Mm-hmm. He had nothing left to prove. He wasn't going through another rebuild. Mm-hmm. And just had to give him a shout out because love the way he played. Agreed. Great player. Great player, great leader. All 17 seasons in Anaheim, which is rare. I think he helped the Zegrases. He gave them a year, just to learn off of him and see what being a professional is really like. So kudos to Ryan Getzlaf, and big shoes to fill for whoever takes that captaincy role in Anaheim, because he did it with class and he did it with just perfection, really, the last decade plus. Because you didn't know he was there. He was just another guy, and that's one of the big parts of being a leader. Yeah, absolutely, warrior. Well, we'll talk Saturday. We'll figure out iron out the details and the time of day, things of that nature. But I'll see you this weekend in this studio. Until then, take care, my friend, and we'll talk soon. See you soon, my friend. All right. There. Thanks, Shay. There's Shamus Fillmore, everybody. Good to see him. Like he said, like we were just talking about, we're going to do a special Saturday podcast this week. We're going to do that Saturday morning. And we're going to talk Masters. We'll talk a bunch of different things. Going to have some people in studio. So we'll talk about all of that Saturday morning. Looking forward to that very much. We'll also probably talk some baseball with opening day on Thursday and a bunch of different things as well. But as we head into Wednesday, we'll get into all the NHL stories tonight, NBA news, tee up baseball tomorrow. I think we had a good chat yesterday about the world of baseball, different teams to look out for. We'll do that more in depth tomorrow. So have a great night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in today. Thanks for your interaction. Always love to see it. Until then, this is To The Point.